All of us are here today taking these college classes because we want to get a higher education and get a better job so we can raise enough money to support ourselves. Some of us even want to support other people through charity. I'm here today to tell you how to properly support other people and support the right charities. Although yes, it is very important to be a good Samaritan and help other people, there are people who don't understand that and want to corrupt the systems and steal the money for themselves. I want to warn you guys about this, and even I didn't know about some of these things, and I was just shown these through some documents that I'm going to show you through my presentation. And it's a very tricky thing that we have to figure out. As citizens of a dominant world power, we need to help the world though not through foreign aid, but through investing where our money goes, looking at the world equally, and focusing on our own community first. Hi, my name is Laura Betch, and today I'm going to cover the problem of foreign aid and the corruptness in the world, the solution of looking at the world equally and not looking at people like they're just pieces in a board game that we can move around, and the benefits of longer-term effects, less corruption, and inter-community charity. First of all, I'm going to talk about the largest need, which is corruption in the federal or foreign aid system. New York Times says, typically foreign aid serves commercial interests at home or buys political allies abroad. This is where money dwindles down and it starts in the government and slowly goes down to those in poverty. But when it gets down to those in poverty, it's such a small amount from the amount that was originally donated that it can't benefit as many people as was originally intended. The people who are donating this money don't understand, so when they're writing a big fat check to these corporations, they think it's all going towards these children in Africa like is advertised, but really a large part of it may be going towards other things that they don't know about. The second thing is that foreign aid creates a dependency in these countries that are getting helped, and when the foreign aid leaves, when we have to go somewhere else after a 5-year period, which is the normal length of foreign aid, the system crashes and the government and the different countries that we were helping are even in an even worse state than they were when we first went. Relief aid is an example of this, like after earthquakes and natural disasters when we go in. This is a large part where this happens. It's just a short-term answer and an excuse for large countries and corporations to get involved and show smaller countries their products. An example of this from Poverty Inc. is a film, a documentary on this, is the Haitian earthquake. The United States came in and gave the people in the city a bunch of produce because the roads to the farms out in beyond the cities were destroyed in the earthquake. Well, since the communication and connection between the farms and the city was eventually rebuilt, after the United States had flooded the city with all this fresh produce, the farms were out of business, and even though they were still growing all this food because they weren't ruined in the earthquake, they didn't have anyone to sell it to because the United States had already flooded it with so much produce. And another example of this is in the same situation, the United States flooded in a bunch of rice, which used to be prized in Haiti, and they used to only have it like once a week. It was a special thing, but then they had so much of it that it ruined the rice economy, and now rice is just ruined for Haiti, and there's too much of it everywhere. Solutions for this. We, the people in the United States, need to watch where we're donating our money, and we need to just invest a little bit more time when we're writing these checks to see which corporations are putting their money in different places. Another part of this is focusing first on our own community before we go somewhere else like Africa, across an ocean to focus on their community. It's a little bit hypocritical to go all the way somewhere else and say, hey, you need to fix this, when even ourselves aren't fixed. And it's a lot better to have a good system at home and where we know the people and we can have a great community. And then after we fix our own community, we can go elsewhere as a community and help other people in their communities. And it's as a bigger group, we can make a bigger impact. You also just need to research where you put your money, because an example of this is the Clinton Foundation. Says that they put 88% of their money into charity, but really only 10% goes into charity. And that's an example of a corrupt business, but Red Cross donates 91% of their money into charity, and the 9% that's taken out is obviously necessary because they need fundraising, and the administration needs to have different supplies and stuff for Red Cross to work. So you just have to, you can still donate. It's not like I'm telling you guys not to donate. You just need to be careful of where you do donate if you're going to, or focus on your own community first. Another primary solution is to focus on people like everyone's equal. Although some people might not have equal incomes, we need to look at the world and realize that just because someone is below us, and in the United States we have this problem because there are different levels of income in the United States, and below outside the United States there's even further levels of income, and we look at those people like they're just pieces in a board game that we can move around and give charity, and they become faceless when we start giving them this money, and they just become something that we can feel good about in ourselves. And Poverty Inc. says, this is where we end up objectifying the poor in their poverty by turning them into objects of our charity. We exercise our will to be charitable upon other people who become faceless and nameless, somebody in a commercial. We can't do this because this takes out the whole part of charity of the charitable act. Poverty Inc. also says, but if each of us starts by seeing each person in fullness and who they are, their destinies, their potential trajectory, not simply their lack, then we will start to identify the solutions that are much more effective. We need to get off of our American high horse and step down with everyone else and just create a better system for the whole United States. The benefits of this is that there would be a long-term system for poverty reduction in the world. There would be a decrease in money involved in the corruption of foreign aid if we just spend a little bit more time looking into where we're putting our money. And there would be a unity of charity and community and citizens if we would all just work together, and then once our community is better, we would move elsewhere. And we can just work through our community until our country is good, and then from there, we can go into other countries and help them. Now it's time for me to conclude. It's our daily duty as citizens of the United States to help the world, not just with foreign aid, but by focusing first on our own community, looking at the population equally, and investigating where we put our money. Let's stop throwing our money into the hands of unknown governments, hoping that it makes its way down the chain into those in poverty. Let's create a system that actually impacts those who are thirsty, hungry, and shelterless. This is my work cited. Thank you for listening to my presentation.